So here's another example of a quadratic equation that can be solved by completing the square. But this time the lead coefficient is something other than 1. This time the a value is -2. So in the purple box where it tells us how to solve these, okay, it says the first thing you must do is make the lead coefficient be 1. We're going to accomplish this by dividing everything through by a -2, even the right-hand side. So what's equivalent to this is 1x squared. Now that's going to be plus 7x, and a minus 5/2 equals 0 divided by -2 is just 0. Now, the first thing we do is we move the number out of the way, so we're going to add 5/2 to both sides. So we'll have x squared plus 7x, let's leave a little space for our magic number, equals 5/2. It's a positive 5/2 over there now. Now it's time to find our number that will complete the square. And so we're going to take half of the coefficient of x, half of the 7. Well, that's about as good as that gets. 7/2. Half of 7 is 7/2. Step 2 is to square this. So the magic number that's going to complete the square and make the left-hand side be a perfect square trinomial is 49/4. So we are going to add 49/4 to the left-hand side, and we must also add 49/4 to the right-hand side of the equation. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we are going to factor the left-hand side. First times first, we'll need an x there and an x there to give us the x squared term. What two numbers multiply together to give us 49/4 but combine together to give you 7? It's going to be 7/2, also known as 3.5, right? Okay, so this is going to factor into x plus 7/2 times x plus 7/2, also known as x plus 7/2, quantity squared. Factor on the left-hand side, then we are going to combine on the right-hand side. We have on the right-hand side 5/2 plus 49. You know, to add or subtract fractions, you have to have a common denominator. So we need to build up this first term by multiplying by 2/2. Another way to write 5/2 is 10/4. That's the same thing as 5/2. Bring down the plus 49/4. And when we add those together, the denominator of 4 stays the same. When we combine the numerator, 10 plus 49 is 59. All right, I know this looks kind of strange, but what we have is a quantity squared equals just a number, 59/4. We have something squared equals a number. That means we are ready now to do our square root property. So I'm going to take the square root of the left-hand side and the square root of the right-hand side, not forgetting the plus or minus symbol. What that leaves me with on the left-hand side is just x plus 7/2. On the right-hand side, we have positive and negative square root of 59 over square root of 4. I don't think that 59 will break down. There are not any factors of 59 that are perfect squares, so the best we can do is write it as square root of 59 over, but the square root of 4 is 2. One other little thing we need to do to solve for x, our variable, and that is to subtract 7/2 from both sides of our equation. We will then have x is equal to -7/2 plus and minus square root of 59/2. Now they're probably going to combine that together to write all over the denominator of 2. And so that's going to look like -7 plus or minus the square root of 59 all over 2. And you can write that in solution set form if you want to.